Tesla is announcing a recall of some 55,000 vehicles, models ranging from the popular 3 sedan up to their X SUV, and years from 2016 up to present-day 2022s, all over what some are calling a faulty rolling stop feature while in autopilot mode. Now, these Tesla cars effectively do not come to a complete stop at stop signs, which has got regulators upset, with Elon Musk saying this is not a glitch. This was programmed that way. So here to weigh in on all of this is Lauren Fix. She is known as the car coach and is an automotive industry expert. Lauren, thank you for joining us. So what do you think? Is it a glitch, or were some engineers being naughty and making it so these cars just don't come to a full stop?
Well, honestly, some genius programmed this in. It says in their owner's manual that if you're going below 5 miles an hour and the system does not detect any other bicycles, pedestrians, or anything, that it will roll a stop sign. Now, that is illegal. If you and I did that, we would get a ticket. So you're basically teaching bad habits to a computer, because computers learn. So whoever programmed this in is basically telling people you're breaking the law. So what you want to teach kids when they're new drivers is come to a complete stop, and any driver's ed test would require that. You look left and right, make sure everything's clear, or if you're at a 4-way stop, and then continue. This is saying, no, just go ahead and roll. Just don't worry about that. Really? Because basically you're breaking the law, and it could be dangerous to anything.
Now, what about that, Lauren? What of all the drivers that do this infamous California rolling stop in these cars that have gotten these tickets? I mean, does that change liability in any way now that, it's been revealed that these cars were, I guess, basically defective?
Well, they were programmed that way, so it was intentional. So you will get a ticket in the court of law. If you break the law, whether you roll a stop sign or you're speeding or you're driving too aggressively, a police officer has a right to write you a ticket, and you will be paying for that. You will not be able to fight a ticket saying you didn't do it, even though the car did it, because the truth is, you're the driver. You're responsible behind the wheel. And this is going to be one of those huge factors that impacts the potential of autonomous cars, which, again, he's claiming that his autopilot is autonomous, and there's no such thing as autonomy. Right now, we're at coming into level 3. Mercedes and Audi and BMW have cleared that hurdle. No other manufacturer has, and Tesla certainly is not at level 5, which is basically you sit back, you cross your arms, or you go to sleep. That is not something that is considered actually occurring in today's environment, and consumers are not ready for that, and neither are the insurance companies or any other driver.
Now, there are multiple lawsuits in this country and in Europe over Tesla cars being unable to stop while in self-driving mode. Now, as you mentioned, Tesla says it's still ultimately up to the driver to make that final decision while the car is in motion. People have died, Lauren, in some instances. Is this a result of driver error, or does Tesla need to just go back to the drawing board?
Well, I think Tesla overpromised on something. Autopilot, something that anybody can use. It's autonomous driving, and the fact is that is not the case. Again, if you rely on a car to do the driving, you still have to sit behind the wheel. Now, there are some self-lane centering products out there like Super Cruise and Blue Cruise and a lot of these other autonomous type things, but it's meant for you to reach over and grab a cup of coffee and take a sip. You still have to keep your eyes on the road, and that's why they're tracking your eyes and making sure your hands have a certain impact on the steering wheel. Well, Tesla doesn't require that, and there have been deaths, not just the driver themselves, but other people that the Tesla hits. And this is a huge problem, and I am shocked that NHTSA is constantly saying, oh, it's okay. It's not, we're not going to press charges. If it was any other car company, they would go after them with a vengeance. And so that's why other car companies are not overpromising and under-delivering, and he is.
Now, more and more car makers are working on autopilot functions. Domestically, are our roads, are they ready for autopilot, or other drivers? Are we ready to see driverless action?
Well, it's funny, about 5 years ago, I was in Georgetown with Volvo, and they had someone behind the wheel, and I was in the passenger seat, and you could see bicyclists looking over as they were showing us their autonomy. This has been in place since 2009. Audi had it back then, where a driver would sit there with their arms crossed just to prove they could do it, but it was always an engineer behind the wheel, and we as journalists got to sit in the passenger seat and watch the reaction to other drivers, and they're not ready for this, and that's the truth. I mean, it sounds great. Oh yeah, just, I can go to the mall, I can fall asleep, or if I drank too much. all of this sounds great. If that's your situation, then get somebody else to drive. Don't rely on some of the autonomous features that are there to keep you safer on the road. And the key is to use them. 90% of drivers get them. They're shown them when they buy the car, and then they don't use them. And so then what's the point?
Yeah, it sounds like our streets and the regular people, the other people in regular, I guess we'll call them regular cars, are not ready for all of this. And I'm just curious, since we're talking about those rolling stop tickets, I wonder if they can send Elon Musk the bill.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. I mean, you probably have to get a class action lawsuit, which you probably could if you have 54,000 cars. And let's just say, for argument's sake, those 54,000 people were using it. You might be able to put together a class action lawsuit with some attorney who specializes in that because you purchased the car with that feature because you were told it was a cool thing, but maybe it sounds cool on the surface, but it's still illegal. That doesn't mean you're allowed to use it. And the fact that people are using it in other countries could potentially lead to a lot of other disasters.
Yeah.
But I tell you, a good attorney could have a good time with a class action lawsuit.
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of lawsuits to come with this kind of autopilot stuff. Lauren Fix, always great to have your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you.